Hey there, film fans. I'm Jeff.
And I'm Dave, and welcome back to The Love of Cinema, a pod in which we challenge one another to discuss movies, both new and old, with a strictly positive critical eye.
That's right. And to avoid lazy negativity, we have decided that this here episode should be a drinking game. So, pour yourself... Wait, that's your line. Anytime we say...
It took me 5 weeks to get the intro right, and you fuck it up? Come on.
God damn it. So, there you go, people. Anytime we... That sound means we have to drink, but we try to keep it positive. We're a drinking game. We try to keep it positive. If we say anything negative about the film, which, you know what? This movie's getting really good reviews, but maybe we'll throw some shit in there just to get ourselves some buzz and so we can drink, and we hope you drink along with us.
So, pour yourselves a glass and get ready to put that 2 extra punches into the back of that guy's head in the subway that were completely unnecessary, but great. As
really
we discuss.
Great. And yet they all walk away. If I took one of those punches, I would just lay down for like 5 hours.
Actually, I think everybody, because it's in the trailer, everybody knows the clip I'm talking about because we're talking about the Batman this week, obviously. And that was actually what sold me on Robert Pattinson doing this role, was when he walked out of the shadows, put that guy down, and then just put the 2 extra angry punches into the ground. I was like, they were completely unnecessary, but that sums up the character in one swoop.
Yeah, exactly. That's so good. Yes, people, we are talking about The Batman, which is, of course, the new movie that begs the question, how many times can you sing Ave Maria in one film?
No buzzing.
Or how many times... Can you play the Nirvana songs underscoring in the entire movie if you only pay for the rights one time? It's just very curious questions. I'm
a big fan of the 2 or 3 note theme song that just gets in your head and stays there.
That song. I don't know any of the words, but I just remember the guitar and then the. Also, there was definitely it's too bad because of course there's a father thing. Not to spoil too much, but like with the Batman, but I know we're not talking about the movie yet, but they pulse the minor third on this chord, so they do this a lot.
Oh, Jeff bought musical instruments to the show this week. Jeez.
Well, it's like, I don't know. There were a couple times where it was begging you to think of the Imperial March. There were a couple times, and Michael Giacchino's score was so good. But anyway, the Nirvana was. What the fuck are we talking about, people? We're talking about the Batman. This is, of course, starring Robert Pattinson. It's directed and co-written by Matt Reeves, who you may know from Felicity. You may know from saying, "Hey JJ, hey, are we still friends? Are we still a team? Hey JJ, I'm just kidding. I don't know anything about Matt Reeves. I'm just pretending like he's just like sucking up to hhis former partner JJ Abrams, directed.
Well, I don't know if he needs to now.
Well, I mean, for sure. Okay. The big thing that everybody knows about this movie, of course, though, is that this was where we knew that COVID was real. Not the NBA getting canceled, not whatever the hell that press conference was. The Trump and the Europeans have to get home. It was when they suspended indefinitely the filming of the Batman, the $180 million budget Batman movie, where Ben Affleck said, "Fuck it, I'm out," and they said, "Screw it, we're just going to remove DCU. We're going to put Robert Pattinson in."
It was 3 times I think they had to suspend this thing, like twice for COVID because he got it. Yeah,
he got it. So it's like. I don't know how many scenes they could do without him.
Let's just film the brooding scenes that day. Just put this rubber mask on. You'll be fine with the fever.
Also, someday they're going to cast somebody who doesn't have the most impeccable jawline of all time to be Batman. Is that the only thing you need to be Batman?
Yeah, that's the prerequisite, pretty much.
Because he was like an angsty teen who, had a personal trainer basically in this, but his fucking jaw, it's like, God damn it, no wonder he's Batman.
He clenches a lot. He's angry.
Yeah, and then he slouches. I feel like he was like playing into the Bruce Wayne thing where he was like slouching, like he was very emo.
Well, let's set this up and then we can discuss.
Should we?
Yeah.
This is the Batman. If you want to know what the plot summary is, it's about 7 paragraphs long. This is
and that's half the movie.
And that's half the movie. Yeah, exactly. It's
because this is a 3-hour monster, people. 3 hours.
Everybody's saying it, but it's just true. It's 7 meets the Batman. That's what it is. It's David Fincher's 7. It's dark and raining for the majority of the movie, and they're trying to figure out a serial killer who's just going one by one, and they say lines like it's his ball game. We just have to keep chasing victims. Like, it's totally 7. It's so true, and it's fucking great. Here's the plot synopsis. I think we set it up enough. Also, shout out Zoë Kravitz as Catwoman, Jeffrey Wright as Commissioner Gordon. You have John Leguizamo. And my favorite game, is that Peter Sarsgaard or Corey Stoll?
Yeah.
And it took me like 10 seconds to be like, is that Corey Stoll or is it Peter Sarsgaard? And you know what? It was Peter Sarsgaard. Okay. The Batman, written by Matt Reeves and Peter Craig, who is Sally Field's son.
Cool.
Directed by Matt Reeves. When the Riddler, a sadistic serial killer, begins murdering key political figures in Gotham, Batman is forced to investigate the city's hidden corruption and question his family's involvement. Dave, you're the DCU MCU expert.
They missed a bit there. It's like Batman was forced to stop beating the living shit out of Gotham and investigate them instead.
Yes, that's right. Batman has to wonder, did he become?
Well, I mean, that's one of the things I do like about this. He gets an arc. Like he starts this thing just fucking angry, and by the end of it, it's a different character.
Also, we should be clear here too. This is the least Bruce Wayne centric Batman that I've seen. Maybe you would disagree, but I rewatched 1989 Batman. I've seen the next one with Catwoman and Danny DeVito Penguin a million times on TV. Oh yeah, Batman Forever a million times.
You? Yeah,
I love the Dark Knight series except for the last one. It still makes me angry. The Justice League stuff is good, but so this was like the first time. It's called The Batman, but the Batman had the arc. This wasn't Bruce Wayne's world conundrum. This is like Batman's
it was a little bit. I mean,
well, yeah, of course.
But the one thing I really liked about Pattinson doing this is when he does have the cowl off, he just looks fucking haunted. Yeah, he's playing it exactly like a guy with PTSD from watching his parents get gunned down as a kid. Like it's perfect.
Yeah,
what little you see of his Bruce Wayne is like that was just icing for me.
Yeah, me too. And he did pull off because of that, and maybe because he was acting with the slouch and with the look of just complete misery every time he walked around. Where when you have John Leguizamo's, I get the Italian names mixed up. He was Falcone. When you get him the first time we see John Leguizamo, and he's like, "There's the only person more reclusive than me," and it's like,
was that John Leguizamo?
Sorry, oh my God, John Turturro. Sorry, John Turturro. Fuck.
Jeez.
I buzzed you just for fun.
I'll drink anyway for letting you get away with that for as long as I did.
I love John Leguizamo. I'm so sorry. It was John Turturro. My fault, everybody. So John Turturro is Carmine Falcone. When he says like, "Hey, he's the only guy more reclusive than me," but like nobody would ever suspect him to be Batman when you saw him be such a brooding little, what a little shit. like why would you ever think he would be Batman? But anyway, Dave, you are the DCU expert on here. I know they tried to kind of sever ties with DCU, maybe because they're just tired of like people coming in and out and they won't think.
I think when they ditched the Ben Affleck one and decided to go their own way, it was a case of, all right, let's like this, because we don't know if the DCU EU wasn't popular. That popular, and this I think had the luxury of falling in around the same time James Gunn came in to do Suicide Squad. They kind of did that, like with James Gunn, they just took their hands off the rails and let him go. And so they kind of did the same thing with Matt Reeves on this one, and he, like, this thing is almost comics accurate, like in a lot of ways, like tone. I don't mean storyline, I just in tone. It's like very comic accurate in tone. And like even the hospital has Gothic lighting.
That we should talk. Wait, it is important. I know there's so much story to talk about, but the architecture is very different. I mean, not only is Wayne, they're in Wayne Tower,
very Gothic. Yeah,
they're not in Wayne Mansion. They're in Wayne Tower. And first of all, it's obviously the decor, the Gothic decor clearly has like bat-looking symbols kind of built in, obviously, which is great. Again, that's probably very comic accurate, but really interesting. And then there's always light coming in. The light is always shadowed. It's never just like a pure open window and stuff. Yeah. But I just thought the architecture was really fucking interesting.
And they use that to great advantage too. Like this, if nothing, like as well, this is beautifully shot. And I was like, who the fuck shot this? And I looked it up.
We've been talking about him like crazy, right?
It's Greg Fraser, the DP from Rogue One, and that little film called Dune.
Yeah, we talked about him a lot during Dune, right? Well, and you go back through his whole catalog, and it's just like 25 years of just like
beautiful looking shit. Like, yeah.
Yeah, this is really, and then of course I kind of said some shit about the score because of the Imperial March and stuff, but Michael Giacchino's score is so good, and I'm so glad we live in a world where I was, back to Star Wars. Speaking of Dune, where Hans Zimmer, who Hans Zimmer and Michael Giacchino, like Hans Zimmer seems to have the belt a lot. We just assume he's the best, but Michael Giacchino's got 2 Oscars. What he did in Up and fucking Ratatouille, but even all that Lost, like he really is ridiculous. Star Wars is great, but it all sounds good on a soundtrack. This does not necessarily sound good on a soundtrack, but it is haunting.
Yeah,
and they have the repetitive themes, to give us a little out. But it was like the score and the way they shot, and the color, like amazing.
You notice the theme is almost the same pace that he walks around.
Interesting. I didn't think about that. But it is slowed down. That's really curious.
I mean, because he walks a lot. Like this is a Batman that is action when he needs to be, but most of the time he's walking around slowly. And at first I was like, why the fuck is he walking around this? Like, because they bring him in, and it's like, why is he walking around so slowly? And then I realized in the very next scene that he's got contacts in his eyes and he's filming everything. And I was like, I don't run around with a camera either. Like. So there's a reason for everything that's happening. You're like, why is it happening like that? There's a reason, and it's usually explained, which is great.
Also, last thing about the music, there was no mids. It was all lows and highs. They just cut the mid out. So, Dave, I know you mix sound. It's always the mids that make something muddy. There's no mids in this, so that everything's clear. But then also you get that kind of shrieky, like horror thing on top without. It's just anyway. Let's. You talked about this great. Let's get into the beginning of this, because this fucking movie opens. First of all, we know pretty quickly that it's the mayor, and just the second we see Riddler, I don't know about you, but everybody in our place was hyped because they applauded the entire Nicole Kidman opening thing at AMC.
Okay, yeah, everybody's doing that sarcastically now. They did it in my theater as well, and those bastards put the long one back in for this. Yeah. Like I got the full Nicole Kidman treatment, and I feel like the person whose idea it was at AMC suddenly noticed they'd cut it. They're like, no, back in.
Everybody was laughing, cheering, like the entire time. Like people, like somebody after 30 seconds would be like, "Woo!" Like it's so ridiculous.
For anyone who's listening, I noticed we had a shit ton of downloads in Australia.
Yes,
like Queensland this week went nuts because I know they're all like having trouble with floods down there at the moment. So good on you for like hanging out and listening. Hope you guys are doing great. And getting out of the water. Stay dry. Don't try and drive your car through it. It's bad. Never ends well.
That happened in front of an Airbnb I was at one time. Somebody in a minivan tried driving through it.
Why do they do that?
And the engine just started smoking, and that was it.
So anyone in Australia or other countries who are listening to us, because we have a few now, I look up on YouTube. You'll probably be able to find it, AMC Nicole Kidman, and you'll understand what we're talking about, because they play this before every fucking film
movie,
in the theater, and it's to get people to come to the theater, but we're already there.
We're already in the fucking theater. I'm already there. And they actually say things like, "This is why we come to the theater," and we're like, the Batman is why we came.
What's on after you is why we came to the fucking theater. Yeah.
Anyway, okay. So
we digress.
So then we get into this opening, and the Batman is the shadows. I thought that was a really, really cool sequence. Also, for some reason, they definitely were shameless about the fact that it's New York in this one. I know that the Dark Knight series was largely shot in Pittsburgh and Chicago, but this was so shamelessly New York. And there's a lot going on in the world. So very quickly I was like, this shit's pretty real already, even though it's very dark and stylized. And
I'll tell you, I did not think they could get realer than Nolan. And they did.
It's haunting. Like I'm saying, it's dystopian, but it's also really real. Like that. What a weird line that they drew perfectly. But that opening, so he's in the shadows. We don't know where he is. He beats the shit out of the people first, right? At the
no, it cuts through. There's the voiceover with him narrating his journal that he keeps. So it's full noir at this point. Like it's a voiceover with dark like shadows everywhere and cutting to different scenes of the city. It's raining. You could not get more fucking detective noir if you tried. And they turn the bat signal on, and he's saying how that's become a weapon because they don't know in which shadow he's hiding in, and it gives you like 3 scenarios. Of where he could possibly be. And then, of course, he's revealed to be in one of them and kicking the shit out of people in shoes.
There he is. Well, from the train, the train sequence, which is really well done.
Which we've seen in the trailer,
And that was in the trailer, too. And I also love how it was different. It was just different than Bale.
I want to talk
a
little bit more about that later, because the line at the end of that really got me.
The vengeance one, the one that they repeat over and over again.
No. There's another bit there, but I won't touch on it yet. I'll wait for spoilers. It's a little bit spoilery. Because we haven't got there yet. Yeah, we're just raving about this. In case anyone hadn't guessed, we love this.
We like this movie. Yeah, go see it. Go see it, people. It's just so cool. It's so cool. We don't have to get into like the best comic book stuff that came out quickly. Like, is this the best comic book ever? Like that's I want to put the recency bias aside, but this is really something. This is a really good
Batman film.
Fuck yeah. I mean, it's a good murder mystery. Yeah. It really does cross genres a lot.
If you're a hardcore for years fan of Batman, not necessarily the movies, but all of the entire literature and everything, then this is probably what you've been waiting for.
Shit, high praise.
And what a time too! Like, we just had Spider-Man, which celebrated the entire franchise basically of Spider-Man, and then you got like noir epic Batman.
Yeah.
And then we're going straight into like Doctor Strange in the multiverse. It's either the holy trinity of superhero movies or it's a sign of the end times, one of the two. So, wait, DC had 2 successful movies in a row. It's the end times. It's got to be the end times.
What's happening here? Yeah. And Peace. Are you counting Peacemaker too? So there you go. Like,
yeah, that's 3.
Go DC. So we're still not really in the spoiler section, but we got to talk about they introduced the Riddler early, which is good. It's good. He's going to be there the whole time, and it's that's what makes it kind of like Seven. Again, I don't want to overdo that metaphor, that reference, but it's so good when there's one villain, and in this case, unlike the Joker, unlike some of the other ones, we don't really see him. We think we do. We think
he's a voice.
He's a voice. He's a video where you only see one eye or something kind of weird. But like the way they introduce him in that the first kill is fucking haunting. And then of course the political aspect of it, and man, it starts with some fucking high stakes. But then back to your point, where when Batman is in the crime scene, because now he's friends, on like get all the Dark Knight shit out of your head for people that had that stuck in your head. Because so now he's right. He's towing that line where he's invited to crime scene because of Gordon, but nobody else likes him, and he's walking weird. And I was like, it's style, maybe it's that. And then you find out later that he recorded the whole thing. It's like, wow, that is some class shit. I'm glad that you talked about that. Can we just get into spoilers?
That's giving away like 2 seconds of a 3-hour movie. So that has nothing to do with any big spoiler or surprise. So.
Somebody dies in the movie.
Yeah.
By the Riddler.
Well, actually, a fair few.
Just okay. Go see this movie. We'll ease into the spoilers. We're not going to be like, I just want to died like John did.
Yeah, I just want to quickly jump through the.
We're not going to be like, okay, so then Batman died. He didn't die. I'm just saying, like John does that with their spoilers.
I just want to quickly jump through the cast. So, like Robert Pattinson, looks amazing, and that might actually be my favorite look and mood for the character so far, out of any of them. Nice. I love the suit. The suit looks fantastic. Zoe Kravitz nailed it.
I think so too.
I was like, from the films I saw before, I was like, she's going to be really good, and she did not disappoint at all. Like they totally they underplay Catwoman, if anything. Like they never refer to her as Catwoman, but it's quite obviously she'll eventually become Catwoman. But
was that the biggest laugh in the movie for you when he goes, "You've got a lot of cats"?
No, there was a couple of other ones. There's some stuff they say totally deadpan serious, but it's still damn funny.
Tension, man, tension.
Yeah. Colin Farrell,
unrecognizable. Dude,
as Penguin. The woman next to me must have thought I was having a heart attack, because the first time he turned up on stage and spoke, I was leaning forward in my chair, clutching my chest, going, "Holy fuck!" Like it was just the most amazing thing I've seen in as far as a look in a long time.
That's cool.
And I'm glad that he's getting a spin-off show. So on HBO Max.
Surprisingly realistic, where he toes that line of like, it's ridiculous, it's dystopian, but real. Whereas DeVito's was wild. There's a clown.
Yeah,
that's okay.
That was a totally different tone. Yeah,
this is cool.
This is the arms dealer, rougher Penguin that a lot of the like Arkham game players and stuff are used to.
And the guy on Gotham was great too. So this is probably in that world, but even more. Anyway,
only less campy than that.
Yeah.
And I think that's. I mean, Paul Dano as the Riddler. We'll talk about that a little bit in a minute. But yeah, I just think all round nobody disappointed in this film.
Jeffrey Wright, it was such a good, because Gordon, everybody who plays Gordon always is this confident whatever. I loved seeing he's not Commissioner Gordon, he's just Lieutenant Gordon in this film. I love seeing him just be fucking stressed out about this situation he's in, and not just be like, I got that, like not be he wasn't a politician. He was not a politician in this. He was a lieutenant just trying to do his job, and
all his friends are dying.
Well, yeah, I mean, but even before that, he still has that kind of stressed out thing. He's like, you know anything about this? To the Batman, it's like, he's here, he's your guy. You know, the whole way they set that up, I thought that was great. Peter Sarsgaard, John Turturro as some of the supporting characters were just, oh my God, right on the. And then there was I love the guy who played Kenzie was great. Is that guy? The mayor guy was great. The new mayor, Bella, was great. And then Barry Keoghan, I guess, is going to be, he might be the next villain in the next movie. We've been seeing his face a lot, but are we in the spoil? Can everybody leave? Can I ask one quick?
Yeah, let's do the spoilers. We'll hit full spoilers.
Okay, it's not that much of a spoiler, but the only thing, if I'm, sometimes you sit back and you say, I wish blank, even though you know that the story checks out, I wish there was more Alfred.
Okay, yeah, I get that. I kind of like that they used him as a bit of a device. Like, he was trying to get him to take care of himself. He knew he wouldn't take care of himself, so he did the best he could. And I think, given the amount of story they had to tell around Batman, I don't think it would have been too much.
Yeah, I get it. Yeah. I get it.
But yeah, you're right. You're right.
I wasn't butthurt about
Andy
it.
Serkis knocked it out of the park. He was a great Alfred. I wasn't sure how that was going to go.
Right.
Again, like, there's some of these casting choices were like a bit weird when they were first announced, and as it turns out, they were fucking amazing.
Well, it has to be, because obviously Michael Caine, and then I really like Jeremy Irons in everything, but I like how serious Jeremy Irons was, but also like he just seemed really. He didn't seem like a manservant, Jeremy Irons. So when they did Andy Serkis, I was like, okay, well, he's going to stretch a little bit, and he just stretched just enough. I thought he hit the sweet spot.
That man can do anything.
The lamp, like everything, yeah, that was really, really, really cool. Okay, cool. Should we talk about the Riddler? Or should we talk about anything else you want to talk about?
Fuck Riddler. That was like when they finally get to the reveal, and it's just like a normal kid. And he's just basically like some kind of incel fanboying over like the Bat. And you're like, oh, okay. And then they take him away. And there's still 45 minutes of the movie to go.
Yeah.
And then we get to that interrogation scene where he just fucking snaps when it doesn't go the way he wants it to. And I like that. I really like that. So, like, his choices in that were really good for me.
Paul Dano knows how to play a tortured soul. Like, when is he just going to be like a nice, sweet leading man? Like, he's only going to be the guy.
Now.
There will be blood, prisoners, even Love and Mercy, where he was like, I'm going to go with the drug addict, crazy, probably isn't great at a dinner party, Brian Wilson. Like, it's just, I've seen him in a play too. Like, I mean, he did like in indie films he does, but my God, the way his eyes were so wide the whole time. And also it was great because Jim Carrey was so camp as the Riddler. And we don't have to compare everybody to everything, but there's precedent for all of these characters.
Yeah.
And so to have him just be a psychopath, but also all the riddles check out, and he's not just thirsty for more riddles. He's not going to go like have like a sexual experience just thinking about riddles.
No, I think the thing that sold his character in the end for me, and this is a massive spoiler, so if you're still with us, for God's sake, tune out now.
Get the fuck out.
The thing that sold the Riddler character for me is that he won.
I love
like
that
even when they had him in prison, he's like, no, it's not over. You haven't won. And he then proceeds to like win.
Oh my God. And then when you find out, he's like, guys, they're going to have me by tomorrow. And then, and it's like, oh, what an asshole.
Yep.
That's danger. I like that he went full psychopath on this too. Like when he was in the thing and he's like, no, this isn't the way it's supposed to be. It's confusing as an audience member when you're like, what are you talking about? Like, you really thought the Batman was going to go with you? And it's like, oh God, it was so good. I love that. Even just the texts. It wasn't even him where it was like, is like, next victim, is he dead? And the Riddler just goes, not yet. Like, even just over text.
Yeah.
It's like, fuck. Oh my God.
This guy's a maniac. No, that was one of the best representations I've seen of the Riddler. I said back when they were doing, when Nolan was doing it, when Dark Knight Rises was yet to come out. I'm like, if he ever does the Riddler, it'll be a Saw style serial killer where you have to solve the puzzle to get out.
And that's what this was.
And
this was Seven Meets Saw, right?
It wasn't quite Saw-ish.
No, it wasn't. You're right. It wasn't Saw.
Although the guy with the bomb around his neck, maybe a little touch, yeah,
maybe.
But yeah, and I'm happy that I'm like happy they did exactly what they did, and that's a great start for that character because now
they're gonna keep going. Yeah.
Now he's in Arkham and he's got friends.
Fuck, man, Arkham. Oh yeah, for sure. Oh, and then I love that element too of sort of the again, this is so relevant now. The knowing that you can go on, let's say 8chan, I don't know, just a random website, and you can basically just rile up the next civil war, which sort of happened in this, but there's friends on the inside. There's like cops that watch Fox News that are guarding that prison that are like, what insurrection? These incels.
A few people have complained about its wokeness. I have no idea what they're fucking talking about.
Get the
I don't
fuck
know.
out of here. What are you talking about?
Yeah, you just want to be pissed off at something. It's like, oh, everybody likes it. It must be woke.
It's wokeness?
Wait, all those leftists seem to like it, so I must hate it. I don't know what they're doing, but they called it woke.
It's about terrorism, and it's about how the main character is by trying to solve terrorism might be causing more terrorism. And what he didn't change his pronouns. Like I don't know what. I don't understand what they think.
Batman, they it.
Yeah, he's not sitting there going. Yeah, he's not. I don't want to. It's obviously a serious issue for a lot of people. I don't want. Batman wasn't sitting there going like, out of respect for. Whatever. Get the fuck out of here. He's just stupid with the wokeness stuff. You mentioned Catwoman. What a story arc.
Yeah.
What an angle that she wasn't. She wasn't
resurrected by a cat god.
I was going to say she wasn't pure femme fatale, that she actually allowed it to be genuine and that was enough. Or because obviously she had ulterior motives going on.
Like she had skills. We don't know where she got them. But you grow up in that environment, you develop some skills. And she used her skills to help her friend, and then it didn't go well. And that sent her down a little bit of a path where, she might almost be killing people.
and to that was great. That was great. And she would have been justified to do it in a sick way. Obviously, I'm not saying killing's good, but like you
to be honest, I had no idea what way that scene was going to go. I'm sitting there going, this could go either way, and I'm good with it, whatever direction this takes. Like one way's a darker path, but I'm on board.
I don't even know. There's two different ways: the one on the rooftop and the one inside. Like it could be either one of those that you're talking about. And I think both of those. Kudos to the character for that. The way that she turns into Catwoman and he's watching her. There's that whole the way he chases her down and goes like all of that was so well done. But I just love and it's no shade to anybody that's played Catwoman because it's a hard role and except for Halle Berry, but everybody else has played this. Again, I actually really like the girl on Gotham who was like a 16-year-old like gymnast, like whatever. I thought she was great. But
except for episode 2. If you're going to watch Gotham, skip episode 2.
Okay.
I don't know who directed that, but they make her do like weird things like clean herself and say meow all the time.
Yes.
Everyone was like, what the fuck? And they never do it again.
They never did it again. So, you're right. Because they were kind of like, test it out. Like try it on, try on the clothes, spend it, whatever. Anyway,
I'm pretty sure the showrunners had a vacation that week or something. And they came back and they're like, you did what?
I'm not throwing shade at anybody who played Catwoman, but Catwoman always seems like she might kill Bruce Wayne. There's always this thing where she's like, I'm gonna get. I don't know. There's always too much subtext like that, and I like that she could have still done that in this.
She's not. I don't think she would kill Bruce Wayne. I can't see that much to back that up. But she would definitely leave him for dead.
Yeah.
If there was jewelry involved, like
whereas this
jewelry.
This Selena Kyle, while she'll lie to him and be dishonest to him, and you know what? To be fair, there is still a script where the same exact character portrayal could have ended up leaving Batman for dead. I love it that she didn't make that her whole performance. And I thought that, just saying, this is... I'm not going to tell you everything I want, but I want this for now. I know you want stuff, and we're going to work together. We're going to keep our secrets. I thought she hit it right. I thought she hit the nail right on the head. I thought it was really, really a cool take.
Yeah. I mean, her and Pfeiffer, equal ground for me. Because they're two distinctly different characters. Like, Pfeiffer is very sultry and camp. This one is completely realistic and believable.
Yeah.
Like, she never does a single, like, that's the other thing about all the tech in this. Like, they don't go full over the top tech. Like, when he is trapped on the top of the building and you're expecting the cape and he hits a button and the cape wraps around him and turns into a gliding suit. I'm like, yes. They stayed within their rules, and I really respect that. And then, of course, when he gets to the bottom and he tries to use the grapple and just loads himself over the top of a fucking bus. And crunches the ground. That looked like it hurt.
Fuck yeah, it hurt. I was actually surprised he pulled the parachute on that. And I did want to ask you a little bit about, did they make Batman too physically vulnerable? Because that's obviously something that came up in the Bale Batman, but was he getting too much shit kicked out of him?
I don't think so. I think like in the fights, it was kind of a fair game here and there, and that was realistic. You're surrounded by 4 guys. One guy's going to get a hit in. You can't block everything. In the case of like the suit, I got the impression that was the first time he's been trapped enough to use that, like the glider. That's the impression I got from that, because it was like he was like, shit, okay, let's try this. And it is year 2. He's only had these things for like a year and a half, 2 years.
I like that they established that. Yeah. That Andy Serkis said that in a quick line. Yeah. I also think that it's cool. Maybe he saw Spider-Man enough times to be like, if a 16-year-old could shoot webs, the next day he's not going to be like just fucking 100 feet in the air. Like, I guess, I'm so sorry. One miss and you're dead. Like, you're still 16. Like, and he probably was like, I should be, I'm standing on a roof, whether I'm Batman or not, I'm mortal. And I do think that was a cool choice. But I was curious because he got the shit kicked out of him a lot. He
did. And I mean, that's the thing. Like, I think that's why they have so much trouble with Superman. Because you can't, the only way to do that, I was having this discussion today with someone, like, the only way to weaken Superman is literally to poison him. And otherwise, he's completely invincible. And, like, if he's in a fight, he's going to win. Yeah. So they added a little bit of the, he might get the shit kicked out of him at this point because he's surrounded by 5 people and he doesn't have 5 fists.
I also love that he passed out twice, which means that there were 2 different times in this movie that somebody could have unmasked him and they didn't. And I think they actually pulled that off really well, because that's one of those things you have to circle and you have to be like, one of them was Selena Kyle, so kudos. And then Gordon,
Gordon would never have pulled that mask off. I don't think that he's pissed about not knowing who he is. Even though they've been working together for 2 years, but he still wouldn't pull that. He still wouldn't pull that mask off.
Certainly, this Gordon. I thought Jeffrey Wright.
It's funny he didn't get too much screen time, or like not too much screen time and stuff like that. But you learned a lot about Gordon just from the way he acted.
Yeah. Oh my god, I loved all of his asides. Okay, where to next?
The car.
Okay, the car. What did you think of the car? The car was cool.
I mean, that's the thing. Like, when you go into a Bat film, it's the suit, the actor, the car.
Wait, no. The signature shot. Tell me that in the editing bay, they didn't spend an entire day on the upside down Batman shot with the fire in the background when Penguin's in the car. And tell me they didn't sit there and say, should we just spend 30 seconds on this shot? Because this shot is so fucking good. Should we slow it down? They probably spent an entire day on that one shot, because that was the coolest shit I've ever seen. I saw it on Dolby Digital. I know you saw it on IMAX. So you're talking about...
No, I went digital. Dolby Digital.
Sorry. I thought you said you were doing it for IMAX, and then you said it wasn't shot for IMAX,
there was no good seats left.
So you saw it Cinema One at Lincoln Square?
No, I went to Times Square, Times Square actually fills their medium popcorn, so it resembles a medium popcorn.
Get the fuck out. I know you're right. That's hilarious. But just because it's the same scene, because we only really see the mobile once. We saw a lot of motorbikes, which was awesome too. I like the motorcycle, but but the reveal of the car, it was like,
you get all this revving and you're like, oh, it's coming. And then they show the front of the car and you're like, oh, it's kind of just a car. I'm willing to go with that. And then they show the back of the car and it's got a fucking jet engine bolted in the back of it. And you're like, yes, this is going to be awesome when he hits it. Like, and then that car chase, like where he's just, again, realistic. He's smashing into things. Like he's trying to hold that thing, but he's bumping like other cars and stuff like that. It's like me playing Grand Theft Auto. Like I cannot stay on the fucking road. So it's oh come on.
A Batmobile on Grand Theft Auto would be awesome. And to our friends Matt and Mark.
Good, just quick when I was playing Cyberpunk 2077, and you find a Batmobile. There's a guy
really?
There's a guy who like leaves this note about how his parents were murdered and he becomes Merkman, and you get one of the best cars in the game hidden in a cave somewhere for free. Awesome. Even it's great. It's a Batmobile.
One of my favorite stories is my brother used to have a bat suit that was just like his go-to Halloween costume. And one year in New York City on Halloween, if you called an Uber, the Uber app had all of the cars as Batmobiles. So like the Batmobile was coming to pick you up, basically. Yep. I don't know how they figured that out, but that was cool.
I think it was the day that Back to the Future 2 happened. If you called an Uber, a DeLorean would turn up. You had a fair chance of a DeLorean turning up. Yeah,
that's really fucking cool. But yeah, the whole sequence, that sequence cost tens of millions of dollars because they destroyed real cars 100%, and not just like shells of cars, like cars that were moving were like fucking hitting shit. I swear, I don't know how they did that. At night shot. So can you imagine lighting that? Like I don't.
Yeah, fire. You light it with fire.
I'm telling you, that shot, upside down Batman shot, going slow. Yeah. They probably did the Nirvana guitar chords on that too. Was like I saw that and I was like, that was the kind of shit.
That was the 2-note piano riff.
That is the shit that we in our old apartment with John. Do you remember John? John was our friend once.
John who?
That's the kind of poster you hang up over the wall. That upside down Batman shot. Oh my god, it was so cool. Anyway, but back to that car chase. I mentioned Matt and Mark because they shat on me when I said I loved the Dune sequence where you didn't know who was on what side when the attack happened. Mm-hmm. And they hated it because you couldn't tell who they were. And I loved it because you couldn't tell who they were because it was confusing because it was like, it's a battle.
That's true. You don't often wear colors.
Can't stay. We got to get our buzz quota up. But in that car chase scene, it was weird because they nailed it perfectly where I was like, I don't know where we are. I don't know where they are in relation to each other. But at the same time, I kind of felt their relationship to each other. I thought that was really well. I'm sure the editing was really, really exceptional. It was really exceptional this time. I know it's a long movie, but when I looked at my watch and we were 2 hours in, I was really surprised because I was game for another hour.
Well,
no
I'll
question.
tell you, someone sitting next to me was on their phone all through the trailers and like every 2 seconds picking up their phone, texting someone, doing this, doing that. And I'm like, fucking hell, this is not, I'm going to have to tell them to stop it because they're right next to me. And it's like, it's not dull. And so I'm sitting there and we got 2 seconds into the Batman. I didn't see that phone for 3 hours.
Should we gush that person?
Woo.
Okay, last thing. We don't have to talk shop the whole time. We can get a little loose, but just the whole crime, the way the story unfolded. Obviously, we are 4, and we don't have to break it down scene by scene, but Batman's always a crime story, right? And so it's like, it's always teetered around noir.
I mean, Batman first appeared in Detective Comics.
Exactly. So exactly.
He's the world's greatest detective, apparently.
Which
they throw in there as a line. That was my favorite joke, actually.
The world's, sure.
Oh my god, when that scene with Penguin, where they realize they fucked up, and he's correcting about speaking Spanish.
It's so It
was great.
And then they leave him with the cop. Actually, and that was just really good. Come on, it's got to have a little bit of humor when they're watching the Riddler sting and they have to go to the orphanage and. Then they the Penguin's like, yeah, I'm still here. But they didn't do it in a campy way like you would see in a Hallmark movie where they're like, you didn't remember me? He's like, guys, I watched that whole thing. And they just walk away and don't say anything. I love it when scriptwriters have the confidence to let characters just leave without saying anything. We don't have to say goodbye all the time. Even though in real life, I would say something. Yeah, it's okay in these movies. Just walk away. Fuck this guy.
There was just no parting line. They just left him. Yeah.
When stakes are life and death, you're not worried about the next time you see him and having to apologize. So just leave him in his handcuffs and hope you never see him again. Like, but anyway, the whole dirty cop thing, it's been in every Batman movie. And then you have the one villain, but then you have the rat and you have the crime family. And then you have the other person who's not really in the crime family, but might be straight. Like if Robert Duvall in The Godfather had his own separate syndicate. I thought the way that they handled all that layering was exceptional.
It was absolutely exceptional, and you got fed little bits of it. It was like, okay, there's the mystery over who organized the death of the Waynes, and then there's the mystery over who's the rat, and then there's the mystery over like who's the Riddler going to kill next? Why is he doing this? What's it got to do with Thomas Wayne? Like, there's so many threads, and they really tie them up neatly. If there was any criticism, I would say, it's that they spend so much time on these threads that when it comes time to end the film, it's almost like the end of The Hobbit, where it has those 4 endings.
Yeah. Not the Lord of the Rings, the 4 endings, just The Hobbit.
Hobbit was way worse.
Yeah, true. Wait, just at that point though, just to press you on the one thing that I can see, let's say somebody else getting a little picky about. You have back-to-back same story that contradicts each other. That kind of stuff usually happens in reporter things like Spotlight or whatever. But so he asks John Turturro.
Yes.
And John Turturro tells the whole story. And then he immediately goes to Alfred and he's like, you lied to me. And then Alfred goes, no. And then he tells his side of the story in back-to-back scenes. Did that get you at all where you were kind of like, we're just hearing the same story again, but a different way?
It was absolutely like, I was 100% on board with that, mainly because like he has a similar story to like a similar way of that to the Joker. Every time the Joker gets asked about his like parentage or his origin or whatever, he makes something up and it's never the same. And it was a Bruce Wayne style of that. Like everyone in that city had a motive or the opportunity to kill his parents. And so he's trying to find out the truth, and everyone keeps giving him a different version of the fucking story. Hinting, and it was I love that because it just keeps it going around. It's like at some point he might find out, and when he finds out, there's going to be fucking hell to pay, but they're going to keep you waiting for that.
Is that Wayne drama in the comics? I didn't remember that way, but maybe it's because I'm more of a cinephile than I didn't read the.
Depends on who's writing the comic. Sometimes they downright like say who killed them, and sometimes they don't. So,
because in this, I kind of forgot that Thomas Wayne ran for mayor. I certainly didn't know that the mom was insane, but I guess Gotham talked with anyway.
I mean, that's a little bit variable as well. There's
yeah, exactly.
That's the thing. There's so many different comic threads of Batman. Like you've got DC 52, you've got the original Detective Comics stuff. You've got like all different types of the storyline, and a lot of the backstory has been either retconned or ignored along the way sometimes. So you got plenty of options to pull from.
But it was just so cool. And then I love the Riddler. Maybe that's the woke thing they're talking about, but that's not woke. That's just fucking truth. Where the Riddler's like, you're not a real orphan. The whole thing I thought was great. Like it's so true, and that is something that people are dealing with now that we're so well connected. Is like Bruce Wayne feels kind of like a victim, but he's torn between privilege and victim, and so he takes matters into his own hands for this because he's like he can't live with himself otherwise. And there's other people that are like, then donate your fucking legacy. Then donate your fuck your legacy. Like why do you care more about your $1 billion than you do about your than anything else? Like just give it away. Why didn't you donate?
The woman running for mayor like calls him out on it.
Is that interesting? She basically is like,
your parents did a lot for this city. You haven't done anything.
Again, that's really good script writing that it was her that said that, who they're on the same team very obviously, and not the Riddler or not somebody in Falcone's. It was the new mayor that was like, please help me make the city better.
That was the thing. He's pulled completely away from being Bruce Wayne. So in his mind, he's doing Batman for the city. But they don't know he's Batman. So it's like...
Also, he doesn't accept that that's him now. That's his... Yeah. He is the billionaire. It's not his parents anymore. It's not his grandparents. It's him. And he wants the Batman to be his legacy even if he dies. And it's like, get the fuck out of here. Like, this is you now.
We caught him at a very interesting time because he's pretty much the whole Bruce Wayne persona was gone. There was nothing, almost none of that left in him. He didn't want anything to do with that life. All he wanted to do was be the Batman and avenge like his parents in Gotham and that sort of thing. And that's the thing I was talking about, where he comes around to, by the end of the film, being more of a part of the community and realizing that they need both. And the Batman needs to, like, you know, settle down a little bit. Because that first line at the brawl at the beginning in the subway really fucking got me, when he goes through the fight and he chases him away. And the guy's leaning down on the railing. He's like, they still hurt me.
Yeah.
And it's like, yeah, you beat the shit out of them, but what good did it do? I'm still injured.
Yeah, you're right. And also, Batman, can you beat the shit out of these guys more? Because if you leave them like that, they're gonna keep doing shit. Because if they know, like, you gotta give them an incentive to stop. Oh my god, I have something in my eye. This is fun.
I don't know. I like, those 2 extra clocks in the face on the ground were a pretty good incentive. Like, you will think twice before you fuck with anyone in the subway again. Especially if that light's shining.
Did you like the subway fight, or did you like the fight in the dark with the guns? That was also in the trailer, but going into Falcone's place at the end.
Dude, I had flashbacks to Darth Vader in Rogue One.
Oh yeah, cool. I did think about it because I was just like, "What? This is fucking this is so cool." And I was also like, "How did they not hear that in the other room?"
That's a fair question.
It was in the trailer, so it's fine. It's we don't have to obsess over it, but that was fucking cool. Where you only saw him lit up when that reminded me of the fight sequence. What was the God damn it, the fight sequence?
Use your words.
With Charlie Cox, when Charlie Cox was playing Daredevil. Yeah, in season 1, that fight sequence in the hallway.
Giant Wanna?
The giant
that goes
Wanna,
up the stairs, yeah.
That reminded me of that one, where like him and his body double were like going in and out of the frame.
Yes.
So, like, they were just beating shit people in the frame. I was like, fuck yes. That was just, yeah. I feel like we're at the point in all these superhero movies where a good script is a good script, regardless of the genre, whether it's comic book, whether it's whatever. Like, all of the boxes have to be checked, the surprise element and stuff. But like, we know it works, we know it doesn't, and you can pick. It's all there to steal from to help your project. And I thought that
also the thing is, we had a filmmaker come in who has an obvious love of Batman that came through loud and clear, and the studio who normally gets their fingers in and fucking meddles and locks you out and re-edits the end of your film on you and stuff like that didn't do that. And now they've actually released a statement saying that, yeah, we're probably going to do more. We're doing more of that. It's going to be, we're going to get these filmmakers and we're just going to let them go. And so we can thank Matt Reeve and James Gunn for.
You know who else we could thank? And I know this is going to sound crazy. If we just give me a second here, but I've been listening to sports podcast and
fingers on the buzzer.
Amazon, Apple, they changed the game in sports because they have more money than all of the sports network, or at least they're willing to spend more money than all the sports networks. So ESPN, NBC, CBS, they're now throwing money at people because if they don't, Amazon will snatch somebody up for $20 million a year, because why the fuck not? They want to get in the NFL. That's going to work. I feel like that's starting to happen here because those huge contracts on they're usually TV, right? So you have Ryan, who's the guy that got the $100 million Netflix contract? Ryan Murphy. You got Ryan Murphy with $100 million. You got Shonda has the $100 million contract. DB Weiss and Benioff have like 2 different ones because they lost one and they got another one. Yeah. So you have fucking Emmy Rossum's husband, Sam Esmail, has a $100 million contract. And it's like, it's not just about money and wealth. It's these places. Amazon says, we want to get in TV. It all comes down to House of Cards. I know we can't talk about Spacey, but it was like Fincher and Spacey. Yeah, make whatever fucking show you want to make. Go. I know you're not going to ruin your legacies here, so film the whole season. You don't have to film a pilot. So anyway, what I'm saying now is that to all of our up and coming filmmakers like us and like our friend John, who's making a student film right now, it sucks that it's hard to get that. It's hard to get on the board. It's hard to get on the board when there's the gap, right? But talent is talent, and these studios are just like, People fuck up. We have to admit that too, right?
Yeah.
Matt Reeves could have fucked this up, and they could have canned it, and they could have nixed it.
Thor 2 exists.
But that's better.
Oh, come on.
But that's better. They can nix it after the fact, but if they start getting their fingers in the jelly bowl too soon, it's going to fuck everything up. So just invest in talent and back off, and then check in every now and then, like you're building a house and you have an inspector come in once a month.
That's according to the statement this week after the Batman made like 300 million here and internationally. That is the new policy.
And it's a 3-hour movie. So immediately, if you're a studio and you are putting your fingers in too much, you would immediately say it's too long.
I will point out though, you're still an A-list, right? I'm an A-list, so we didn't pay for this. But AMC did introduce premium pricing for this, and they trialed premium pricing for the Batman. So if you went to see the Batman, you paid more than to go and see something else that was on at the same theater. So they're looking at introducing tier pricing now for the summer tent poles and
hold on.
The big movies.
Tier pricing is in. I mean, it was $28 is what it was supposed to be for the Dolby Digital. Mm-hmm. Everything's tiered though. Like if you go to IMAX, if you go to Dolby, it's more.
But I'm talking if you go to a normal theater with no special features, you will pay more for the Batman than you will for anything else that's showing at the theater.
Even in standard. Okay.
Even in standard. So basically, for any other film coming through, you might pay $16, and for this one, you'll pay $19.
Well, okay. Let me talk about Movie Pass for a second here. I know this is our Batman episode, but since it's just the two of us, we have a little extra wiggle room because John didn't eat up 40 minutes of our time here. I'm sorry. I'm just kidding. Sorry. It's usually me. Anyway, I got Movie Pass when it was $10 a month. And I remember thinking this is the dumbest thing ever. But at the same time, why would I spend $27 to see Call Me By Your Name? I think that was like the year that I got Movie Pass. And I was like, I should spend $7 to go see this movie. Not because it's an inferior movie, but because it's a $7 movie. Like, I'm so sorry. Like, what do you want from me? It's an indie film shot in Italy with great colors and great acting. Why is that the same price as the Batman? Like you just have to be realistic about these kinds of things. If you go to Broadway, I'm sorry, Hamilton costs more than anything, right? But if you want to see like a new show that nobody's heard of, like I saw Flying Over Sunset, it's not going to cost the same as Hamilton. So why does every movie cost the same at AMC? It doesn't make any fucking sense unless it's IMAX. But not only that, there should be $9 movies that they throw in the basement at Lincoln Square. I mean, that aren't 20. Like, they should be $9.
The only advantage to this, because I disagree with this completely, like
what? They're going to go to streaming. They're just going to go on demand.
No, the only upside to this is if they start lowering the tier, then like you get a lower tier, then you might get more indie films coming through cinemas, which is great. But they're not going to fucking do that. They're not going to drop their price. You've still got a minimum of $16, $18, and then they're just going to go up from there.
But indie films would come into those theaters if you have the lowered surge. But I mean, obviously on the big weekends with Batman and stuff, yeah, everything's kind of fucked. But that's how it is anyway. But like, but in some random week in January, like where we were doing our podcast, we were like, let's watch something from the 60s because the cinemas suck right now. It's like throw in a $7 whatever, like get people to AMC, and then you can advertise your catalog of what's coming up. Like that's what, right? Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's great. But I'm a little wary about the tiered pricing.
I think that's the only way to prevent everything to going from streaming is to tier down. That's what I think.
I don't think they're going to tier down.
Obviously, I think the big things are going to go to the theater. I don't want it to turn into theme parks.
They
and it's
have
not just
shareholders to answer to. It's not going down. It's going up.
Fuck shareholders. Shareholders understand that.
We say that. They can't say that. No, shareholders don't understand. Shareholders get in those meetings and complain fucking blue murder when they don't get their dividends.
AMC is not compete. Don't break your non-compete or your non-disclosure agreement. Shareholders they understand that they're competing with streaming now, and so if in a non-Batman week or a non-Spider-Man month, apparently, then why not? If you have 15 theaters in there, why not 2 of them be indie film? That'll just get people in there, and then advertise your
wrong
slate.
About shareholders. Shareholders are fucking Jerry Maguire. Show me the fucking money.
But here's no. I know that that's the truth about shareholders. The truth is those shareholders aren't going to sell their stock no matter what you do. So don't listen to them. Ignore. I know they own your
fair point.
I know they own your company, but if I owned AMC stock, I'm not going to sell it because movies they could still grow. They could still go up. So just don't listen to me. You know, it's like those meetings. How many times have you seen a town hall where somebody's like, we need more wheelchair accessibility? And these politicians are like, you're right. And then they vote against it because they're assholes. Like, just do that with shareholders. Yes, the shareholders are going to complain because you handed them a microphone and they bought a stock and they want to be able to speak and do whatever the fuck they want. And then ultimately Mark Zuckerberg does whatever the fuck he wants. None of the Facebook shareholders matter. So why should AMC shareholders matter? Do the right thing. Be smarter than your shareholders that read Entertainment Monthly or the blog that it's become, and then think that they have the say to stand up there and say, you should do this. Don't listen to the shareholders, AMC, or listen to them, nod your head in agreement, and say, we respectfully tell you to go fuck yourself.
I didn't actually have that much of an opinion on this. I just wanted you to go off.
Shut the fuck up. Get out of here. Do you have anything else you want to say about the Batman? Who are you looking for? Did you solve the riddle at the end of the thing yet?
No, I'm about halfway through solving it.
What you got? What do you got?
No, I can't read that out now. Like, everyone has to solve it themselves. Come on.
People are going to go online in 2 daes and find some weird Reddit thread. We're 50 minutes into this. The only people listening to this already know the answer to it.
Yeah, hi, Matt and Mark.
No, hi, Matt. We should say, hi, Matt.
It's the first half of it is you think I'm finished, Bat. Perhaps you don't know the full truth.
Okay, so that's where you're at. So the second half is...
The second half I'm still translating because like the key that I've got, like the decoder key, is similar to the what's on the poster. It's just not as clear. So
okay,
this
is gonna be what the next villain is, right? Which is probably gonna be Joker.
I doubt it. I doubt it. No, that's the thing. He's come out and said it might not be Joker. That scene was actually cut from the movie originally. There were 2 scenes with him in it, and it was cut. And then the audience scores for the ending went down a little bit, so they put it back in and it went right back up.
Fucking audience scores, man.
I mean, that's what they do.
So I believe what I saw is that there are 2 sequels, which means that Joker could easily be in the second sequel. So they don't need to use him right away.
Well, he said straight up, it's like we don't know when or if we're going to use the Joker. I suspect the next one will be Hush.
Okay, yeah, that makes more sense. It makes more sense. And then you can just keep telling your original story.
Although Hush is very fucking similar to what Riddler was this time around. So I don't know.
Fine. That's okay. Yeah. I watched 4 Bourne movies. It was him against the United States government all 4 times.
True.
I think, you know, and then Christopher Nolan was like, Bane's going to be way different. And no, it wasn't. It was just dumber because he wasn't as smart or whatever. Sorry. They did Gary Oldman so dirty in that. I don't care.
Yeah, they did. They did a lot of people so dirty.
Send them all. This guy's delusional. Don't listen to him. None of this makes any sense. There's a terrorist attack. Don't send all the police officers. This is dumb. Children are going to be watching this saying this is stupid, right? Anyway, what were we talking about?
The Batman, and I think we're done.
There's so much more meat on the bone. I can't wait to hear what everybody else is saying about this.
There's a lot. I think there's 3% of the internet like fucking hates it and are being very loud about it. But fuck them.
I bet you more than half of those in like a year or 2 are just gonna like it and forget that they hated it a year ago.
Yeah.
You know when people do that?
Mm-hmm.
People are like, did you see that movie at a family party? And rather than like get into it, they're like, yeah, I liked it. And they actually like were the ones on Reddit like a year ago.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah, because this movie was fucking great. This is a fantastic movie.
It's a fantastic movie.
Keep making money. And also, let's just say Robert Pattinson he's been a certified bona fide card carrying movie star forever, but he's actually really good. He really is.
His body of work's amazing. Everyone stopped at Twilight. It's what the fuck are you doing? He's done some amazing shit since then.
I may or may not have a significant other that loves Twilight. That loves to hate it, to be fair. But he really tried. Because those movies were bad, but like he really tried, and he really gave it everything. And I thought,
I mean, dude, we've got a Star Wars that made Natalie Portman suck. It can happen.
Actually, we had 2 Star Wars that made Natalie Portman suck. Yeah, for sure.
All right.
All right, friends. Thank you so much for sticking with us for the Batman episode. We're going to finish up, as we always do, with a quick recommendation round of what you've been watching. Dave, what you been watching?
Oh, I went on a marathon this week.
Oh, that was me last week. What do you got this week?
Ghostbusters 1, Ghostbusters 2, Ghostbusters Afterlife.
Okay.
I had like 3 date nights with the wife. We sat there and watched Ghostbusters 1, and turned out she hadn't seen Ghostbusters 2 somehow. And then she also didn't get to see Afterlife because I went by myself. And we sat down and watched that today. And she liked it. She didn't love it. She liked it.
Okay.
It was good.
So she was on my side then.
It does have it does have some glaring plot holes, but it's just great.
Why didn't you say that when we did our Ghostbusters episode?
Didn't notice them till today.
All right. Is that anything else? Or is that your...
No, that was pretty much it. Like
I watched The French Dispatch finally on
Oh.
HBO. I know we usually talk about Oscar movies. I don't think this is nominated for anything actually, but I think my brother described it as Wes Anderson porn. So like if you like Wes Anderson, like you'll love this, which is probably true.
I had someone describe it as the least Wes Anderson film.
That's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. No offense to whoever that was, but this is the most Wes Anderson film I've ever heard because there was no plot. It was just art.
Oh.
So in what way is that not Wes Anderson? Like there are literally scenes where it's just posturing performance art with no plot. Like that is so Wes Anderson. And there are more extras in this movie than in fucking Ron. Like there are so many extras in this movie. He definitely films abroad because he didn't want to, like they couldn't have afforded all the, even at $100 a day, you could not afford all the extras that were in this movie. I'm telling you.
Half of them probably didn't know they were in the film.
Even though they were all very still, except for these two people who looked over this way. Anyway, it's very, very, it is really, really, really good. I do wish Jeffrey Wright was nominated for an Oscar. There was a campaign for him, but there were some really cool sequences, good acting, very good. It looked great.
Okay.
But it's Wes Anderson.
I've been meaning to give it a look.
Honestly, they do it like they're reading the final newspaper. Because Bill Murray's character dies, and so it's like their last newspaper. And so, just if you want to do it in chapters, just do it. It builds the chapters into the movie, and there's no plot. So like, do that.
Yeah, watch it out of order. Skip ahead. Come back.
It was very entertaining. That was cool. All right, I didn't mean to make your friend sound dumb. I'm so sorry they said that. I think I understand what they were trying to say. I think I understand what they're trying to say. Okay. Anyway,
he can take it. He can take it.
Good. Let's have some beers and talk about it. Okay, so thank you so much for joining us for the Batman episode. Dave, anything before we go?
No, I think we've covered it all.
All right, I'll see you guys soon. Ave Maria. No, I paid for the rights once, which means I can sing it the entire podcast.
Come on, you're not a James Bond film.
See you, film fans.